Okay, this is Daniel Sheehan dropping some bombs on the Freedom Pact podcast. Sheehan has a storied career involving cases like the Pentagon Papers and the Iran-Contra affair. He represents figures like Lou Elizondo and even defended people during the Watergate scandal. So he has a long history. Let's check this out.
Now, for anyone who's not familiar, Colonel Grush was testifying in the House Oversight Committee under oath that we are in possession of a non-human extraterrestrial spacecraft. This included, was it near 40 witnesses?
Yes. Yes.
Who were those witnesses? Do we know?
Do we know?
Yeah.
Some of us do. Not everybody knows. Yeah, but the Senate Intelligence Committee knows. The staff people in the Senate Intelligence Committee and the members of the Senate Intelligence Committee know who they are, and they know what it is they've told them. And these are the people that Colonel Grush or Major Grush was referring to when he said, like, he has talked directly with people that are directly personally involved in an ongoing UFO crash retrieval program, and secondly, in a back engineering program of trying to back engineer the technology that's been recovered from these craft, because they're attempting to build a weapons system, in a propulsion system, using the technology that they're trying to recover from these UFOs. And he testified that both of those programs exist. And it's important to remember that, again, the United States Defense Department, Office of Pre-Publication Review, Security Review, have approved that testimony.
Okay, that is DOPSR, the Department of Public Security Review. Right, that's the same organization that had to approve Lou Elizondo's book and supposedly took 8 months to actually finally review it and approve at least what he's going to release in the book. So David Grush had to go through the same process, and all of that was released.
So that's an important thing to keep in mind.
And many people, maybe if they're hearing that for the first time, they may be thinking, okay, this off the wall guy who's finished his military career and he's spun this story, but this is quite a well respected guy throughout his career, right?
Well, that's putting it mildly. Yeah, he was a major officer in the global intelligence center that people didn't even know that existed. But there's a global intelligence center, and he was also a high-ranking member of the National Reconnaissance Office, which is in charge of all satellite surveillance on the planet. Now, this is an extremely high-ranking guy.
That is an amazing point, because David Grush had access to all of the satellite data, and that is super highly classified. I was in the Air Force for 24 years. I was a fighter pilot, F-16 pilot for 18 years, and I did not have access to satellite information. They kept it super, super watertight, and he had access to all of this.
He was actually assigned by the United States Pentagon to be a member of the Special UFO Task Force inside the Pentagon, inside the Office of Naval Intelligence. It was the organization that was put into place after Lou Elizondo resigned and went public about what was going on. They wanted to be able to say, well, there's no such thing as the ATIP program, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program that Lou Elizondo, we don't know who Lou Elizondo is. We've never heard of him. There's no such program. And what they did is they closed down the program and they snuck it over and put it in the Office of Naval Intelligence. And David Grush was one of the people that was an official in that organization. So when he came forward to testify to Congress, he was an absolutely authoritative, high-ranking official of the United States government that was testifying to that effect.
It's also been said that off the back of this, that they're not only craft, but there are bodies that there have actually been DNA tests for.
Yeah.
Now, is that legitimate, or is that just a story I've heard?
No, that's true. that they have the biologic, as he testified to under oath, that we are not only in possession of the non-human origin extraterrestrial spacecraft, but we're in possession of biologics, as he put it, that confirm that these are non-human occupants of the craft.
He's also mentioned that we may not even know if they ever were alive. That's why they call it biologics, because they don't say living beings or deceased beings. It seems like there is some confusion there. As Gary Nolan said, maybe they could be some sort of drones, like manufactured organisms, like 3D printed organisms or something.
So we've got a very respected guy coming out under oath saying that we have craft, that we have bodies, there's DNA tests. Now, what happens?
Important to say, we don't just have him coming out. What we have him is authorized by the United States Defense Department to testify under oath, and we have the United States House of Representatives approving his testimony and calling him to put it forward publicly to the American public and to the world. That's what we have. And it's more than just a guy coming out. You know?
That is a good point. Now, the DOPSR, they're just going to make sure that you're not releasing any classified information, right? So they're going to go and ask these organizations, hey, is any of this classified? And they're probably just going to say, we don't know what you're talking about. So that's why he can release that information, that amazing information he released, right? They're just saying, are you actually releasing any classified information? If no one pines up and says, yeah, that's us, that's our classified information, you can't release it, then they're in a catch-22, because they have to admit that they have alien biologics, right? They have to admit that they have a crash retrieval program if they say, wait a minute, that's classified. So it seems like it's even kept secret inside the government, unacknowledged completely, an unacknowledged program.
No.
So
that's a whole set of official sanctions that are authorizing this testimony.
So where does this stand currently then?
Well, it stands that also you have the day after his testimony, the Senate Intelligence Committee, by 17-0, with all Republican senators and all Democratic senators, all unanimously voting to send to the floor of the Senate a 64-page bill asserting in its findings that our United States government is in possession of myriad pieces of information about the UFO phenomena.
This is an amazing point, right? Everyone's been downtrodden. Oh, the UAPs, we're never going to get disclosure. But if you look at that, I mean, that is an amazing 64-page document that was approved, right? Unbelievable. And signed, like you said, 17-0. So signed unanimously by all those senators. Amazing. Even though it was hamstrung, we'll find out that it still has some key provisions.
And that in non-intelligent or non-human intelligence. And it says it in the findings. And that they are setting up a controlled disclosure program to get this information rolled out to the American people and to the world over a 7-year period. I mean, this is extraordinary. This is another extraordinarily important step that was taken, and it passed virtually unanimous through the United States Senate. Okay, and it went over to the House side, and we do know that for the 64-page bill was kind of honed down to a 24-page.
Yeah, it was totally shot down essentially, but like he says here, and he'll say in a minute, there's still some provisions in there that we haven't really been considering, right? Everyone's just had their head down. Oh, it didn't work. It was shot down. But look at this. No, there is going to be some effects from what was actually passed.
But the reality is the 24-page bill that was passed by the House and therefore had been passed into law and signed by President Biden, which is the law, has now mandated that all 6 of our United States military services, all 18 of our United States intelligence agencies, all 32 of our United States Defense Department agencies, and They all are ordered to gather together every single piece of information they have acquired pertaining to the UFO phenomenon and the non-human intelligence that's understood to be responsible for it, are to gather that all together and have it available in a digitized and retrievable form by October 18th of 2024.
Wow, listen to that. So they are required, all of these organizations, all these agencies are required by law now, passed through Congress, to give all of their information to one depository by October 18th. Now, it could just be like the DOPSA, right? They're not going to share it. They're just going to say, we don't have anything. It's completely unacknowledged. It's an unacknowledged program, super black. And so they're not going to give that information, but they're required by law through Congress to actually report all of their UAP information. October 18th.
So they said 300 days from the passage of the statute. The statute was passed on December 22nd of 2023. And so you compute it out, and we're talking about October 18th of this year. They are ordered to have all of that information gathered together and have it be made available as soon as possible right thereafter to the National Archives. And all information that is more than 25 years old is to be released to the public.
Wow, look at that. All information more than 25 years old. So that would cover Phoenix Lights, right? Supposedly Air Force jets launched on Phoenix Lights. Is that going to be released? And this covers all the old cases as well. Everything on Roswell is, according to Daniel Sheehan here, required to be released to the National Archives. And this is signed into law in Congress.
Which covers Roswell, which covers Aztec, which covers, Project Blue Book, covers all 700 cases in Project Blue Book that were classified and were never acknowledged publicly. All of that information would be covered, and people don't realize that that's happening right now.
Is it happening though? I mean, couldn't they just say we don't have it? But it's required by law, and this Congress, they write the National Defense Authorization Act to give the actual budget, so all the money for all these agencies and organizations, and the oversight, right? They have the policy and they have to have oversight because they're giving the money. What's the money being used for? Right? Government by and for the people. That's through Congress. So they do have oversight requirements. And so what they're saying is turn in all of your UAP documents.
All they do is they're wringing their hands saying, oh, there was a 64-page bill that would have set up an independent panel to review it all. But, oh, no, it got all stripped down to only 24 pages. People don't realize the 24 pages that got preserved are extraordinary in what's actually been passed and what's been mandated now.
Okay, so I think that's fantastic news. I was deeply disappointed when they totally hamstrung that bill, when they hamstrung the UAP Disclosure Act from 64 pages and chopped it down. Mike Turner, Mike Rogers, the head of Armed Services Committee and the Intelligence Committee in the House, chopped it apart. But like Daniel Sheehan here says, is they still passed a 24-page law that requires all these agencies to actually give their UAP information. So that should be going on right now. That's a requirement. And hopefully Mike Rounds is pushing for that. We know other powerful senators are pushing for that as well. So it looks like they are requiring oversight. And we're going to know this year what records have come in. And are they actually going to give those records out? Could you imagine if they just give the Roswell records? They say, fine, here you go. We give up. That would be unbelievable. So please hit the like button. It really helps the channel and it's free. Just hit that like button. If you did like this video, subscribe for future notifications and support the channel on patreon.com/Chris Slato or become a YouTube member here. If you want to watch the full interview, link is in the description. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.